After a 6-hour drive, we had finally reached our destination. Stepping out of the van, my beard had froze over, my eyelashes had crystallized, and I started to question if I had made the right decision. You see, several weeks before that moment, I made the decision to leave school. My parents weren't happy about that. I was chasing joy and community that I had experienced while on a service learning trip in Belize, of all places. But somehow, I ended up in a YMCA parking lot on the edge of the Boundary Waters in the middle of one of their coldest winters on record. Now, one of my co-leads had called over to me, "Ron Frost, come here, we need you in the back," which I laughed at briefly. I was there as a guide in training with Wilderness Inquiry. We were leading a dog sledding and a winter lodging experience for people with severe and cognitive disabilities. As I go to the back of the van, he pulls out sleds and he says, "All right, everyone harness up." To which I was surprised because wait, we didn't cover this in the pre-trip meeting. It turns out that some of us will be hauling gear to the lodge while other people were going to be hauling actual participants, some who couldn't talk, some who couldn't walk. After I got strapped into my harness, young Daniel, who was behind me in the poke sled, I asked him if he was ready to go, to which he just nodded. We started our journey to this lodge. Now, what they also didn't clue me in on, so if you all aren't getting the gist, I was the green, the newbie, right? So they were just putting a lot of stuff on me in a moment. Something else that they also didn't tell me about is that this journey to the lodge would be over a half-mile across a frozen lake. And so when doing this, I'm hiking across, the snow crushing beneath my boots, and I all of a sudden look up, snow flurries everywhere, the sun shining. There's this joyful kid behind me, and there's a long line of people behind him, side by side, in front of each other, behind each other, leading. And it dawned on me that I was doing exactly what I've always wanted to do. That moment for me sparked a huge shift in my life, and the reason why I'm on this stage today. That trail to the lodge over that frozen lake, like many of the trails that you all are building, was an antidote for healing and a pathway for joy and community, and ultimately to belonging. I believe beyond all other metrics, when we create moments of joy, memories become identity, and then communities that love, share, and fight for their green spaces, their parks, and their trails happens as a result of that. These moments, for me at least, and I know for many of you, become the cellular level of community transformation, similar to your trails. And that transformation I've seen, and now you have seen through these students behind me, a part of these outing clubs that we facilitate across the country at 16 HBCUs, historical Black colleges and universities. The transformations that I've seen on these campuses and in the students further this ripple effect. Anthony is a student who I want to talk about briefly. I guided him to the top of Mount LeConte. If you do not know, Mount LeConte is in the Smokies. This is a trip that I led with Anthony that he had always wanted to do something outdoorsy, and I was, at the time, an outdoor program coordinator at North Carolina A&T State University. And on this experience that I made just for him, because in him I recognized that this is just a kid curious about the outdoors, but without the resources, the opportunities, the invitation to get there. And so I became that. I also needed that when I was younger. And so in becoming the person that I needed, I guided him to the top of this mountain. And now Anthony has become a guide in his own right, leading his community out on weekly experiences, as well as organizing an annual retreat in the mountains for members of his church. Another student I met, Adrian. I met Adrian down at Florida A&M University. Adrian was our first ambassador at HBCUs Outside. He had this robust passion and curiosity that also shone through, just like Anthony, but also lacked the resources and the invitations. One of the first things I set up for Adrian is a tuition-free experience in Alaska with National Outdoor Leadership School, that's NOLS. He did this 21-day backpacking trip and returned more invigorated than ever. He would go on to help with critical infrastructure there at his university and getting an outdoor bouldering program started at his recreation center. And the last student I want to share is Nate. Nate is a wonderful grad student we work with at Howard University in DC. Nate ran one of the biggest experiences that we have ever seen across our campuses and got 130 students out ice skating in a single day. Since then, Nate has begun to organize snow sports experiences every winter for his friends and the community of alumni that he still engages with. If there is one notion or one thing I want you all to take away with today, is that one person's joy becomes another person's permission, and that is critically important as we continue. Thank you.